Yo, what is going on? I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm Marcus, and here, attorney reactions to current events, trending news. We're going to dive in to three stories today. Two of them are actually interesting and kind of a deep dive on legal nuances of stand your ground law and self-defense, and how each state has a little bit of a difference in how they look at things, and that could be the deciding factor on whether or not you go home or go to prison for a long ass time, potentially the rest of your life. As always, if you get some value out of this content, I invite you to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. A salute to everybody who support, and a big round of applause to the channel members for the extra support. Hey, salute you, round of applause. I appreciate all of the support. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about it. The first story we're going to take a look at is about what's going on in D.C. with the National Guard. If you've been under a rock and don't know what's going on, two National Guard members were shot. One recently passed away, the other is in critical condition. The gunman, we're going to talk about the gunman in this video. I'll tell you, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, man. I don't know. I like to play guess what race the person is. I knew inherently it wasn't a black person or a Hispanic person. How did I know that? Because if that was the case, they probably would have been on the news immediately. And just as a matter of course, we're not going downtown a block away from the White House to do something like that. That's just kind of outside of the norm. You don't normally see those type of things going on. So we talked about the National Guard, why they were here, what's problematic with the National Guard being here, and it's because one of the issues with the National Guard being in D.C. for protection purposes or security purposes is National Guard inherently are not trained in the use of force spectrum, when to use force versus when not to use force. These National Guard members are electricians, they may be infantry guys, they may be mechanics, shower specialists. They can have any job in the world. None of that equates to having training in how to utilize use of force. More importantly, how to have rules of engagement when it comes to dealing with actual civilians versus actual combat zones. So let's go ahead and check out this video. Then we're going to talk about it. Let's dive in.
Guard members ambushed outside of Washington, D.C. metro station this week passed away. Well, the investigation into the shooter's motives is underway. President Trump says he never should have been in the country and wants to remove even more foreign nationals who he says don't love the U.S.
Real quick, I mean, if your thing is immigration and you're the president, this is a prime opportunity to try to capitalize and push that initiative. So I'm definitely not mad at it. It actually makes sense.
Natalie Brand has more details from Washington, D.C.
The National Guard is honoring 20-year-old specialist Sarah Beckstrom as a hero, calling her killing a devastating loss. A long motorcade of law enforcement and emergency vehicles transported her body from a Washington, D.C. hospital late Thanksgiving night. Her fellow West Virginia National Guards member, 24-year-old Private First Class Andrew Wolf, remains in critical condition. The two soldiers were shot while on patrol Wednesday outside of D.C. Metro, just blocks from the White House, in an ambush attack.
Now, real quick, I'm just going to give y'all my take on what I've seen from National Guard who are in patrol in D.C. The best example I could use is the Chris Brown concert. Chris Brown came and did his whole Breezy Bowl thing, and I was going down there, and as I'm down there, it's National Guard all over the place. Hey, this is just me, what I was able to observe. There was very little sense of situational awareness that was going on. People were real lax, and rightfully so, because I know they probably confused as to why the hell they were here. But it just didn't seem like a situation where the guardsmen that I've seen were actually like attentively paying attention to what was going on. I'm not saying that's all of them, but a lot of the ones I've seen, and I've seen, I don't know, 10s, maybe 20 National Guard, if not more, on patrol. And it's always real kind of lackluster. But the other thing is, it's hard to be attentive when you're in a city environment and people are just walking around freely. So I'm not faulting the National Guard, but I just don't think they have had the proper training on what they are supposed to do or what they are necessarily supposed to be looking at. So I think that is also a part of the problem. Real talk, if they weren't out here just to be hanging out outside of the Breezy Bowl, standing there in areas where there's very little crime, just seems pointless to me. So I personally think this could have been avoided because I don't even think the National Guard in most instances should be at locations that they are currently at.
Prosecutors say the suspect, 29-year-old Ramanallah Lakhanwal, an Afghan national from Washington state, will now face murder in the first degree.
100 as he should. Hopefully, I'm sure justice will get this one right. Rest in peace to the service members because they didn't deserve this. I just don't understand the need to have the National Guard here just kind of standing by idly. It puts them in harm's way. They don't have the requisite training for such an urban area with civilians. And the bottom line, someone like this Yahoo who committed this offense, they are actually at an advantage because the bad guy normally picks the place and time. The good guy has no say in when the place and time where some shit is going to go down. They just have to react. The bad guy picks the place and time. Hopefully the defender, the good guy, is in a position to see it, make a counter ambush, or avoid something that could result in death or serious bodily harm.
We will do everything in our power to seek the death penalty against that monster who should not have been in our country.
In a social media post Thursday night, President Trump said he will permanently pause migration from what he calls third world countries and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States.
There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out.
The Trump administration says it will review all asylum cases approved under the Biden administration. A DHS official tells CBS News that the suspect's asylum case was approved under the Trump administration earlier this year.
So, again, I don't have any issue with them reviewing asylum cases, but just think about what they said. If you're going to review asylum cases from Biden era, this gentleman had his asylum case during the Trump administration. So if you're going to look at it, you're going to probably have to look at it across the board. The problem is this is something that's going to be hard to predict. When people are going through their asylum cases, they are probably going to say the right things. Most of them, and I know people who've been granted asylum, and it's completely justified. But bad actors like this scumbag, they can say all the right things in one instance, and then the minute they put in their heart or their mind to do something ridiculous and as evil as this, that's just kind of what they're going to do. So with this story, there's a few things. National Guards who are out in D.C., keep your head on the swivel. I know things get mundane because you're used to seeing people walk by all the time, but you always have to keep your head on the swivel for people who have ill intent. You can't let yourself get complacent. Two, send most of them home. I mean, most of them don't need to be standing outside of the damn Breezy Bowl doing absolutely nothing anyway. So rest in peace to that family. Hopefully this guy gets exactly what he deserves. I know they're going to be looking at the death penalty for this, and you all know my position on that. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So he looks like he's going to be getting a stupid prize. Now, let's take a look at this next video because this next video is interesting. This is about a stand your ground law. And is it being applied appropriately? So this video is interesting. When you hear the facts here, I think you'll be shocked. I think most of you will be shocked at the facts. But let's listen to the facts. We're going to break down what stand your ground law actually is, and is it a big deal or isn't it a big deal? More importantly, should it apply in this case? And I want to know in the comments, if you were a juror hearing this case, how would you rule one way or another?
The news at 10. And the attorney for Lamar County teen accused of first-degree assault is now asking a judge to dismiss the case under Alabama's Stand Your Ground law. Marquise Gunter, who was 18 at the time of his arrest, has been in jail nearly a year, and his family says his bond is set impossibly high at $750,000. But first,
okay, so let's give a quick breakdown. He's in custody for an assault. He's being charged with this assault. His defense attorney is saying that this case should be dismissed because of Alabama's Stand Your Ground law. Now, we hear the Stand Your Ground law all the time. People say it's something terrible, it's the worst thing in the world. I'm going to be honest, Stand Your Ground law is not as big of a deal as people think it is. Now, I do agree that sometimes it's used as a method for people who should not get off and escape punishment to escape punishment. But in the full legal context of self-defense, in my opinion, it's not that big of a deal. Some jurisdictions say that if you are faced with a situation where there's a severe risk of bodily harm or death, that you have the right to use self-defense. All jurisdictions say that. However, with jurisdictions are split, you have some jurisdictions say that you have a duty to retreat. What the hell is a duty to retreat? Well, if I have a viable means to escape and avoid whatever that immediate threat is, that threat of bodily harm or death, if I have a means to escape to avoid it, I have to use that retreat. I have to try to escape and use that retreat method that I have before I can engage and use self-defense. That's a duty to retreat. Whereas other states have a stand your ground position where that essentially means there is no duty to retreat. Okay, what is an example of this? This is a hypothetical. Let's say I'm in my home and there's guys at the front door. There's one guy at the front door with a shotgun, and I can look on my Ring camera and see that he's the only guy there. There's no one else around any portion of my home. And this guy's banging on the door, and he opened the screen door. Now he's banging on the door. He's trying to kick the door in. Now, in theory, you could just stand there and wait, and, under the circumstances where you feel like there's a threat of physical harm or death, you can put one in the guy and there will be no harm, no foul. But in a duty to retreat jurisdiction, the first question they're going to ask is, did you have a duty to retreat? Did you have a way where you could have escaped this? Could you have went out of the back door and down the alley and called 911 and completely avoid this incident? If that's the case, in a duty to retreat jurisdiction, you may be screwed. If it's a stand your ground jurisdiction, even though I have an escape path to get out, I don't have to escape. I'm going to stand my ground, and you come in here if you want to, and you're going to get all the smoke. So those are the distinctions between duty to retreat state and what stand your ground actually means.
First, hey guys, we want to hear from you. Are stand your ground laws fair? Scan the QR code right there on your screen to vote now. Tonight, the I-Team Cynthia Gould investigates this case.
Since January, Marquise Gunter has been behind bars here in the Lamar County Jail. And 10 months later, the time has taken a toll.
Sad. And he just had a birthday the past October. I was hoping he would have been home, but he wasn't. So that's another special occasion. He wasn't at home. Hopefully he'll be out for Christmas.
Now his newly hired attorney is asking Judge Samuel Duncan to throw out the case, arguing Gunter acted in self-defense under Alabama's Stand Your Ground. According to court filings, the man involved in the altercation forced his way into the Silligan apartment.
Okay, point number one. The guy forced his way into his apartment. This is a stand your ground state. There's no duty to retreat. So far, it's looking favorable for the young man in this case, the defendant in this case.
Gunter shared with his mother.
Was Marquise trying to protect you?
He was. But starting off, Marquise wasn't even there. He wasn't at the house when this first started. He come in on it. Like I said, the individual was told to leave several times, and the son don't.
So you come in the house. Let's just put this in context. This guy came in the house after a burglar had broken into their house while his mom was home. That's your mom's, bro. Like, so far, all of these facts are sounding real favorable to the defense, in my personal opinion.
He had to do. I mean, he did what he had to do. He didn't just do it out of spite or out of anger. He done what he was supposed to do to protect me and himself.
Court documents claim Travis Smith had broken into the home twice before.
He broken into the house 2 times before. On this 3rd time, he breaks into the house. The defendant isn't there. The defendant's mother is there, and he comes in while this gentleman is already in the house. Now, I would like to know the facts and circumstances of the previous 2 break-ins. The fact that they said he broke into the home twice before. Did he break in while people were home? Did he break in while people were away? They just have a method to confirm that it was him. Those details would be helpful.
And on the day of the shooting would not let Gunter or his mother leave, with filings noting she was left with a broken bone.
The dude breaks into the house. Mom's is home. Mom's got a broken bone. Son comes in, and now this guy won't let either of them leave. Question, is he armed? Does he have some type of firearm? Does he have a knife? Does he have some type of weapon? Does he make it as if he's reaching for some type of knife, firearm, weapon, anything that could pose increased risk? How did she get the broken bone? Did he punch her? All facts that we probably need to know.
What would any child do if they walk in and see their mother, getting done what happened that day?
The situation happened at his house, and I felt that he was right.
I agree. Generally, I think all states should toss the duty to retreat if you are, especially if you're in your home. If you want to have a duty to retreat in some place that's not your residence, okay. But in your home, you should not have a duty to retreat if you're in fear of death or severe bodily harm. Shouldn't be no duty to retreat. It's your home is your castle. You shouldn't have to flee your home for someone who came in to do you dirty.
In the situation, like, he feared for his life and his mother's life, and I think he handled it in a way anybody would in that kind of situation.
Gunter shot Smith, who, according to court records, had a past tumultuous romantic relationship with his mother, and that Gunter reasonably perceived an immediate threat of injury from Smith. His actions were justified.
Okay, so they say that he perceived an immediate threat. That's all good language, favorable to the defendant. The defendant, the young man in this case, actually knew the person who broke in. It was someone who had a relationship with his mother, and they said it was tumultuous. We don't know how they are defining tumultuous, but essentially we know that shit was not good. Mother had a broken bone. 3rd time this guy is broken in 2 times prior. All of these facts are favorable for the defendant, for the defense in this case. And in my personal opinion, if I'm sitting on a jury and I'm hearing these facts, I'm like, we gotta I don't know if I'm agree with y'all on this one, State. There's too many facts going in the defense's favor.
He has not been in trouble.
No, never.
No criminal record.
No record.
I'm assuming he doesn't have the means to escape the country.
No.
The $750,000 bond is something we see mostly in much more serious crimes like murder, child molestation, or drug trafficking. Gunter's attorney calls it excessive and has applied for a bond reduction.
There's way worse crimes that have less, bond set, and I think it's just ridiculous how a kid that doesn't have a history, never been in trouble a day in his life.
I agree 100%. And there's a good chance that at a bond reduction hearing, this young man's bond will probably be lower.
And it's pretty much, here you go, and the kid's sitting in jail he can't defend himself in jail.
Friends and family vouch for Gunter's character, calling him quiet and mild-mannered.
He was always, like I say, just a family person, a friend person, and always cared about others.
I've always known him to be a, kind, helpful person, and not one that he avoids conflict.
But Gunter reportedly made statements after the shooting that may have hurt his case.
I don't think he was like he understood everything that was going on. I think he spoke off of being scared.
Those close to the case tell us the alleged victim signed an affidavit asking that charges not be pursued. A hearing on the motions is set for early December.
The victim signed an affidavit saying, I don't want to pursue charges. I mean, if I'm the prosecutor, I would just let this one go. I don't see anything here viable. I don't think it's a good case to present to a jury. In addition, the fact that you got the victim who was allegedly assaulted saying that I don't want to move forward with the case, I think the prosecution should let this one go. Why are they holding on to it? Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, this is a young black kid who's charged with a crime. If it was a white kid or a blonde white girl, probably wouldn't see this going down this way. Probably wouldn't see as high of a bond. So we know the justice system is not fair, and it's different in every state, every jurisdiction, and every case, depending on who the players are in the story. But I think the prosecutor should let this one go because I don't see anything. I don't see much favorable for the prosecution in this matter.
Gunter's supporters say the community is behind him.
Just keep his head up, that everybody out here is trying their hardest to get you home, and like you're going to be okay. We got you.
District Attorney Andy Hamlin says he's unable to comment on the case. Gunter's new attorney, Lonnie Spann, took over the case in mid-October. He tells us his client has a strong defense. He was defending himself and his mother, shooting a home intruder who was committing domestic violence.
That's what the facts sound like to me. We don't have all the facts, but that's kind of what I'm hearing.
Spann says for reasons unknown, Gunter made statements to law enforcement that were untrue, even incriminating. The court has approved a mental evaluation.
All right, that's good that they're going to do a forensic evaluation to determine his mental state. I'm guessing that they'll find him competent to proceed to trial. I just haven't heard anything here that would denote he has the mental deficiencies needed to rise to the level of not being capable to understand the proceedings, the nature of the charges. What he said to investigators that was untrue could be used against him. I mean, it depends. The young man is 18, so he was technically an adult at the time. Generally, if you have a situation where you have to discharge a firearm, you don't want to say anything. It's actually better if you let someone else call 911 on your behalf as opposed to you calling 911, because what you say will 100% be used against you. So why would he get arrested and say something untrue, say something inconsistent with what the facts are? It could be a plethora of reasons. It could be because he was scared. It could be because he was nervous. And when you're nervous, what you think you perceive versus what you perceive versus what you'll say you perceived a week from now are all different things based on the heightened stress of the situation. So I think there's some reason or justification why his initial comments to authorities could have potentially been, inconsistent with what we see in the facts. So y'all let me know what y'all think. I think stand your ground laws should be the norm when it comes to dealing with anything inside of your home. I don't think you have a duty to retreat. I think this young man has a favorable case. No prior convictions, no prior contact with the criminal justice system. By all accounts, everybody's saying he's an upstanding young man. There appears to be a history of suspected abuse between the alleged victim and the defendant's mother. So it's all given some familiarity here. The guy broke into the house 2 times before. The third time he broke in, mom had a broken bone. It's getting consistent with he was coming there to whip her ass, which he probably could clearly do. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. But fingers crossed, I think it has a strong possibility to work out favorable for him. Now, real quick, I got to cue this next story up. Now we got this next story, but I want to get it to the right place in the video before I show you all the entire video. Let's see. Let's see, where do we want to go? We're going to go right. All right, so let's go ahead and set the foundation for this next story, our main topic. Okay, we are going to good old Oregon. Beautiful place. If you've never been there, it looks like a postcard. We're going to Oregon, and we're talking about an individual who was the only person working on this night in a cannabis dispensary. Now, I'm going to give y'all facts. We're going to go through this video. We're going to say, hey, is this justified? Is it not? If so, why or why not? And then we're going to talk about the outcome. This man in Oregon, he's the only person working at this marijuana dispensary. Lo and behold, some masked goons come into the dispensary. When the masked goons come into the dispensary, do they whip his ass? Do they hog tie him, make him get face down? No, they actually let this man leave. He gets a chance to leave out of the facility. When he leaves out of the facility, while he's out of the facility, of course, the goons are in there ransacking the marijuana dispensary. The man who they just let walk away goes, gets his firearm, walks back because the building that the dispensary in used to be a restaurant, so it has a drive-through. He walks up to the window where the drive-through window is, pulls out his firearm, and starts shooting. Pow, pow. I mean, he lighting their asses up. He hits two individuals. He hits three persons, kills two, injures one, and now he's on trial for murder. So just knowing that fact right now, those facts, how we gave them, I'm going to go through them one more time because we got some new people in here. Again, quick version of the facts. We're in Oregon. It's a man who's the only person working at a marijuana dispensary. The dispensary is inside of what was a former fast food restaurant, so they have a drive-through. The goon squad comes in. They let the man working go. As they're in there ransacking the place, the man that they just let go, he goes, gets his firearm, walks back up through the drive-through window, start taking shots. Hits three people, kills two, injures one. He's charged with murder. Do y'all think that's legit? Do y'all think that's good? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. And now let's go ahead and jump into this video.
When surveillance video shows cannabis shop on the night of October 3rd, 2024, when surveillance video shows three masked men entering the store and holding Steiner at gunpoint. They eventually forced him out of the front door of the building. The video then shows Steiner going around the corner and grabbing a semi-automatic handgun out of his bag.
So he comes back. Hey, they let him go. He comes back. He's at the drive-through window. Now he's about to put in that work.
Before returning and firing 13 shots. He then retreats across the street and placed this 911 call.
All right. So he fires shots. Now he makes the 911 call. Again, it would be better to have someone else make the 911 call. But let's listen to what he said on the 911 call.
Dispensary. I have three members who tried to rob me. I just shot three of them.
Throughout the trial, the state argued Steiner could have just left the store after being forced out the front door, while his legal team claimed he was acting in self-defense.
Okay, so we're going to pause it right there. So you all let me know in the comments, is this self-defense or should he have left because he was already out of harm's way? How do you view it just on the facts that we have before us? Let us know in the comment. Put a G for guilty, an NG for not guilty on the charges that this young man has or this individual had. Now, I know in hindsight, having to go to court and do all of that stuff, he probably wished he would have just he probably wished he would have just kept going, called 911, and didn't have to deal with anything. But, here we are now. Now let's go ahead and rewind this entire video, and we're going to watch it from the beginning, get what the outcome is. They don't explain why the outcome was the way it was, but I'll explain why the outcome was the way it was. Let's dive in.
And an update for you tonight, a former Portland pot shop employee who shot and killed 2 men during this robbery at his store last year was acquitted today.
Not guilty, acquitted, not guilty, not a hung jury. He was found not guilty. This dude was let go. They let this dude go. He walked away, got a gun, came back, and stopped, bust 13 shots, injuring 1, killing 2 people. Prosecutors was like, "We got to charge you with murder, bruh. You got away. You could have easily called 911. You could have done all these other things, but you elected to go back and shoot people. We're going to charge you with murder and assault." He beats all of the charges. Let's finish watching the video, then I'm explain specifically why he was able to and why the prosecutors should have used a little more tact in when they elected to pursue these charges.
The break-in happened about a year ago at La Mota in North Portland. The jury in the case was asked to decide if Jason Steiner was acting in self-defense when he fired his gun. It was an emotional afternoon in a Multnomah County courtroom for the man accused of murdering 2 people during an armed robbery last year. 35-year-old Jason Steiner, surrounded by members of his legal team, found out whether he would be convicted on multiple murder charges after a week-and-a-half trial.
That's actually a short-ass trial for a murder charge, a week and a half. Before we even finish watching this, they shouldn't have went in there fucking with people. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. This is the definition of fuck around and find out.
Steiner was the only employee working at the La Mota cannabis shop on the night of October 3rd, 2024, when surveillance video shows 3 masked men entering the store and holding Steiner at gunpoint. They eventually forced him out of the front door of the building. The video then shows Steiner going around the corner and grabbing a semi-automatic handgun out of his bag before returning and firing 13 shots. He then retreats across the street and placed this 911 call.
About the La Mota dispensary. I have 3 men that just tried to rob me. I just shot 3 of them.
Throughout the trial, the state argued Steiner could have just left the store after being forced out the front door, while his legal team claimed he was acting in self-defense. The jury delivered their verdict Friday afternoon.
Count 1, murder in the first degree, Tahir Burley, not guilty. Count 3, murder in the first degree, King Lawrence, not guilty.
Steiner was overcome with emotion after hearing the not guilty verdict. You can see him being consoled by his lawyers. Well, Steiner was also found not guilty on 3 counts of unlawful use of a weapon and 1 count of attempted murder.
Okay, now, how many of y'all thought that was going to play out like that? Hearing those facts, how many of y'all thought that, you know what, this guy is actually going to get off? Now, I know y'all like, this don't make any sense. He got away. He came back. He actually kind of caused this situation that resulted in these guys dying. So I see why the prosecutor charged him, is what some of you all are saying. But let's take a look at a unique provision in Oregon self-defense law. Limitations on use of deadly force in defense of a person, notwithstanding a person is, let me see. Okay, this is why he was able to get away. And I'm gonna be honest, it really had nothing to do with self-defense per se, but more so the definitions that they have in their self-defense laws. All right, a person is not justified in using deadly force upon another person unless the person reasonably believes that the other person is, 1, committing or attempting to commit a felony involving the use or threatened imminent use of physical force against a person, or 2, committing or attempting to commit a burglary in a dwelling, or 3, using or about to use unlawful deadly force against a person. that very first provision is why this man was able to pretty much beat all of the charges. And let's just be honest, nobody feels sorry for people who come in there fucking with you doing something illegal, and now you the one charged, and they were the ones that initiated the stupidity. But if there is a felony being committed in a person's presence, and it involves the use of a firearm or the threatened imminent use of physical force against a person, you are justified in using deadly force. So that was the provision that allowed this man to be released from a robbery, get a gun, come back to the robbery where there was no threat of death, and start shooting the bad guys, killing 2 of them, injuring 1, and allowing him to walk home. Now, I'm sure he probably still wish he would have done things different because his bond was so high. This gentleman sat in custody for over a year, ended up losing his job, resources, as he was trying to fight this case. So I'm sure he wished he would have done something different. But yeah, he left. He had a chance to get away. He came back. He initiated the actual use of deadly force in this situation, but because of that provision that allows for deadly force to be used if a felony is being committed and a firearm is present, was written in the statute, he was allowed to walk home. So y'all let me know, is that a good rule? Was this the right decision? I think it's probably twofold. Yes, I think it was the right decision. I think the jury came up with the right verdict. Is that a good rule? I don't know per se. That rule should probably be reworded. If a felony is being committed and a firearm is being used, you can use deadly force. I kind of get it, but this situation, I think the statute should probably be adjusted. If a felony is being committed and another person is in immediate danger, then you can utilize deadly force. Because here the felony was being committed, but it was already over. There was no other person in harm's way. So I think they probably need to go back and look at that statute and figure out a way to adjust it. And even adjusting it the way I say it would be irrelevant, because then if you put that person there, then that just goes to defense of others. You have the right to defend another person's life the same way you could defend yours with the use of deadly force. I'm not really a fan of that provision in the statute, but it was there. It worked out in the defendant's favor. The prosecutors should have actually been aware of this statute. I don't know why they moved forward with it. It was just a bad case, in my personal opinion. I don't think you can get any support for the guys, the goons who went in there to commit this criminal act in the first place. So if I were a prosecutor in both of the cases we talked about today, I would have let both of them go. Now we see how one played out at least. Yo, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out the content on the screen. There's going to be more content related to attorney reactions. Y'all be blessed. Peace.